Secure and reliable radio communications are a vital part of modern life. Air transport has no other means of communication with ground control. And all emergency services rely heavily on radio to ensure quick response and public safety. Rail operations also require reliable communications for safety and improved efficiency. As we move into the 21st century with faster and heavier trains and a stronger focus on customer requirements, the need for effective communications has never been greater. A secure and reliable radio system is being installed that allows trains to maintain a constant communication link with train control regardless of their location in the state's rail network. Because of the vast distances involved, a combination of terrestrial and satellite technology was used so that all areas of the network are securely covered. In much of the state, terrestrial links will be maintained through trackside receivers and relays. But in the more isolated low-volume lines, the signal will automatically be routed through the communication satellite. Each locomotive uses global positioning system information. This allows the locomotive to automatically transmit its position to the train controller's workstation and to change from one base station to the next as it moves along the line. Each train radio can also be switched to local use for communications with signallers, other trains, trackside and maintenance staff. Each locomotive is equipped with a simple radio control console with only 4 buttons for ease of operation and a separate handpiece with a push-to-talk switch. Also on the console, there are 3 adjustment knobs: brightness of the lamps on the console, headset and handset volume, and speaker volume. Even when turned right down, the speakers are still audible. The 3 lights at the bottom left of the console indicate power, satellite connection, and terrestrial connection. The main switch for the radio equipment is either in the electrical cabinet or on the circuit breaker panel. When the power is first turned on, the power lamp will flash for up to 3 minutes and will then go to a full-on condition when it is connected with the network. This does not mean that the radio is logged on. That is a separate operation. But the power light indicates that the radio has performed a self-test and is operational. If the light continues to flash at 2 per second after 3 minutes, this indicates that the equipment could not establish communication with the train controller's workstation. This fault must be recorded and reported. If the light flashes at 4 times per second, this indicates a fatal error in the equipment and the radio cannot be used. Make sure that you note whether it is flashing at 2 per second or 4 per second so that the fault can be correctly reported. The terrestrial light illuminates when the radio has been correctly logged on and transmissions are via the terrestrial network. The satellite lamp is illuminated when the transmissions are via the communication satellite. These are automatically selected by the system. The radio equipment must be logged on when locomotives enter service or when crews change ends. First, ensure that the console in the rear cabin is logged off. This is indicated when the TER and SAT lamps are out and the power light is steady. Then return to the front cabin and check that this console is also logged off. To log on, press the repeater button and hold it down for 3 seconds until a 1-second beep is heard on the speaker. Release the button and either the satellite or the terrestrial light will be illuminated, indicating that the radio is correctly logged on. To log off, hold the repeater button down for 3 seconds while a continuous tone sounds. When the tone stops, release the button and then depress it again immediately and hold it down for another 3 seconds. When the tone stops again, the radio is logged off. Note that the satellite and terrestrial lights should be extinguished. The train controller's workstation includes a visual display unit on which all trains in the area are automatically displayed once each locomotive has been registered by the controller. Their locations and direction of travel are shown using the GPS information. The icon for the train calling will change to blue if the controller is not engaged on a call. Otherwise, it is green. The controller can select that train by simply touching the screen icon. To register the train details on the train controller's workstation, you must first request a call by pressing the control button briefly. If the radio channel is in use, your call will be automatically held until the channel is free. When the call request has been sent, 2 short pips will be heard over the speakers. The train controller will respond to your call request when free to do so. The call will be indicated on his workstation when the unregged loco icon at the bottom of the screen changes to blue. If the controller is engaged on a call when you request a call, the unregistered loco icon will change to green and your call will be held until the controller is available. To contact your locomotive, he will simply touch the icon on the screen. The icon will change to blue. When your call is connected, either immediately or after a short wait, 5 short pips will sound and the control light will begin flashing. To speak, simply lift the handset, hold it close to your mouth and hold down the press to talk button. Speak clearly at a steady pace and always identify yourself, initially with both the train and locomotive numbers and subsequently with the train number only.
Control, this is the driver of train 8891, locomotive 8220.
At this point, having identified your locomotive and train numbers, the controller will enter your train number and an icon representing your train appears on the line section that the train is occupying, identified through the GPS satellite. Your train is now registered.
Yes, train 8891, this is control. You're coming through loud and clear. Out.
Thank you, control. 8891 out.
Signal strength can be described as loud, your signal is strong; clear, every word has been recognised; weak, your signal is weak or some words were missed; or distorted, your signal is very poor and the message was not recognised. In that case, try again from a different location and report the problem. When the train controller makes a normal call to a locomotive, 5 short pips sound on the speaker and the control light flashes. To accept the call, press the control button, lift the handpiece, push the press to talk button and speak. To make a normal call to the train controller, the driver makes a call request by simply pressing the button marked control. This automatically registers the call on the controller's display unit and 2 short pips sound to signify that the message has been sent. If either the TER or SAT lights are flashing on the locomotive's control panel, this indicates that another call is in progress, but you can still register your call request, which will be placed in a queue. When the train controller accepts the call, or is not engaged in a call, 5 quick pips will be heard over the in-cab speakers and the control light will begin flashing. This means that the connection has been made and the controller may respond to the request, or the driver may speak to the controller by simply pressing the push-to-talk button and speaking directly into the mouthpiece.
Orange control from the driver of 8891, locomotive 8220, over.
Yes, 8891, this is Orange Control. Go ahead.
Orange control 8891, requesting update on track work between Combo and Geary, over.
Eight 8891, the work site is now from 431.500 kilometres to 432.000 kilometres, over.
Thanks, control. Message received 8891 out.
The call is terminated when the train controller clears the call from his workstation. To contact the worksite supervisor, the driver selects the local frequency by pressing the local button. The local light will begin flashing. To make a call, the driver simply presses the press to talk button and speaks.
worksite supervisor at Combo from the driver of 8891, over.
Driver of 8891 from the worksite supervisor at Combo. Go ahead, driver.
We are approaching the worksite and are approximately 3 kilometres away. Are you clear of the track? Over.
8891 from the worksite supervisor. Thanks for the advice, mate. Yeah, we are clear of the track. Can you proceed through the worksite at 20 kilometres an hour? Over.
Combo worksite from 8891, confirmed through worksite at 20 kilometres per hour. Out.
Worksite out.
Please note that though local radio conversations can be heard on the cabin speakers at all times, the local button must be selected before the driver can actually use the local frequency.
Well, Sean, looks like you're going for a walk.
Okay, Jeff, I'll grab a air hose and turn on the way back. Driver of 8891 from the second person, over.
Driver of 8891, go ahead, Sean.
Well, Jeff, it's not a burst hose. The branch pipe's come away from the triple valve about 4 trucks back. Could you bring a monkey wrench and assist, over?
Sean, I will contact control to let him know and then come back. Over.
Okay, Jeff. Second person, 8891 out.
Driver 8891 out.
If it is necessary to perform tasks away from the locomotive cabin, the driver is to engage the roam or repeater operating access mode function after advising control.
Orange Control, this is train 8891, locomotive 8220, over.
Yes, driver of 8891, this is Orange Control, go ahead.
Control from driver of 8891. We have a brake pipe problem, a few trucks back and are stationary at kilometre 346.200. My mate needs assistance. I will be leaving the locomotive and now we'll switch to roam. Over.
Train 8891 from control, message received. You are switching to roam, over.
After replacing the handset, the driver switches on the hand portable, selects the roam frequency, and then presses the repeater button on the driver's console. All 3 lights, control, local and repeater, will flash, indicating that calls are now connected through to the hand portable radio.
Control from the driver of 8891. Testing roam, over.
8891 receiving you loud and clear. I'll now suspend the call.
8891 out.
If necessary, the controller can suspend the driver's calls to avoid tying up the system for long periods, but will first advise the driver and then reactivate the call later. While the call is suspended, the driver can reactivate the call by simply pressing the PTT button on the hand portable once. This sets up an urgent call to the train controller, and the controller will answer within 15 seconds. Alternatively, the driver can start to talk after 15 seconds, knowing that the call has been automatically connected. To exit roam and return to normal radio operation, the driver holds the repeater button down for 3 seconds until a 1-second beep is heard on the speaker. The lamps will stop flashing and the train radio operation is restored to normal. If urgent contact with control is required, press the emergency button. 2 short pips will signal that the call has been placed. At the controller's workstation, an alarm will sound and the train icon will change to red. The train controller will have a short period to terminate any call in progress before that call is disconnected and the emergency call is automatically connected. The 5 short pips and the control light flashing indicate that the emergency call is connected and the driver can speak normally. Emergency calls are to be restricted to life-threatening situations or those immediately affecting safety. Drivers connected to the same base station or those on either side of the emergency will overhear the controller's conversation with the locomotive crew. The train controller may also make a priority call to a locomotive, which is broadcast to all locomotives and equipped track vehicles in the area surrounding the nominated locomotive. Only the crew involved in the call can respond. Similarly, the controller can make a broadcast call, which is heard by all locomotives within the area, but none can respond. This is used for general information.
All trains on the Parks Broken Hill and Parks Dubbo lines, this is Orange Control, WOLO conditions, that is, I spell Whiskey Oscar Lima Oscar, will apply over these lines from 1100 hours. Please call in and confirm that you have received this message. Control out.
Charlie Zulu Foxtrot, clear for takeoff. Charlie Zulu Foxtrot. Bravo Indian November.
When safety is involved, it is imperative that radio transmissions are unambiguous. There is no room for error, so disciplined radio protocols are mandatory. It is of equal importance that rail operations adopt high standards of radio control procedures. Not only is this a legislative requirement for a radio license, but it also ensures that there is no dangerous confusion about the meaning of any radio message. For users, good protocol reduces airtime and clears the system for other calls. All staff have been provided with a manual and user guide which outline common radio terminology and the phonetic alphabet, which is essential when transmitting some detailed information, particularly if radio conditions are not ideal. Please familiarize yourself with the phonetic alphabet and don't hesitate to use it to clarify a message, no matter how simple.
At Muckle, I spell Mike, uniform, Mike.
Bravo India Lima. We have a report of stock on the line at kilometrage 388.950. Read back over.
When using numbers, always pronounce clearly and identify a nought as 0. To ensure that the message was understood, you can ask to have it read back.
Orange Control, this is the driver of 8891.
I read back. Reported at Mumble. Stock online at kilometre 388.950. Over.
8891, that is correct. Orange Control, out.
Driver of 8891, out.
Another frequently used expression is say again and I say again. Like other radio protocols, these phrases are unmistakable.
Driver of 8891, this is Orange Control. Say again all after crossing. Over.
Orange Control from the driver of 8891.
I say again. Level crossing stop sign at Cabora Road, kilometre 421.647 has been partially knocked down. Over.
8891 from Control. Message received. Stop sign damaged at the Cabora Road, kilometrage 421.647 has been partially knocked down.
Thanks for that, driver. I'll organise the track supervisors to go and have a look. Control out.
Driver of 8891, out.
The train radio system will allow train crews to communicate with train control throughout the regional rail network, no matter how isolated, and provide information on the train's position using the GPS satellite data. The system will allow for data messages, such as train orders, to be transmitted directly to an in-cab display on the locomotive. With the implementation of train radio for metropolitan services, this system will be adapted to provide the necessary functionality. The correct use of radio communications and protocols will enhance the safety and efficiency of the rail transport industry in New South Wales.